I started out with 7 cents, man, and a borrowed shovel for my first job. And I landed a $38,000 installation job, designed it and everything. I made 18 grand. I took it and just invested back to the company, you know? So, it's just like you got to have that mindset. You know, when I first came down here, I never knew how to build a dock and know about no fucking sea creatures and shit, man. But I'm out there in this ocean, man, building docks, man. I'll show you these videos, man. I almost got attacked by that fucking alligator. I'm out in the New River out here, behind Dixon Elementary, putting a dock in. And fucking alligator, man, was after us. I threw a log at it, man. It jumps out of the water, grabs a log. And he stalked us for 3 days. And we just got done sent some pylons. I'm like, let's take a break, y'all. And so, man, as soon as you get hit dry land, I just happened to look back, and where I was standing, putting the pylon in, and the fucking alligator pops up like, whoop. What's up, y'all, man? This is Sean, the Irishman from Ohio. Aha! But we out here trying to get this money, man, do it the legal way. But this is the trials and tribulations you go through every day having a landscape company. If you got the money, I suggest to have it. If you ain't got no money, stay out the business. Don't be one of the fly-by-nighters, ruin it for us. Cause my dude Wayne, he trying to get that bread too, like us. I've been in business 3 years, man. The season's only been about a month and a half. I've already busted over the $60,000 mark already. Just seen a month and a half. You can get that money. You just gotta be out there and get it. So if you all got any questions, answer me. Tell my dude Wayne right here, man. And we'll see what we can do to help you. There's always a solution to every situation. Remember that. The guy was one of the executives from True Green Felon. And he quit, opened up his business, right? And his buddy just got out of the Marines. And then they partnership with this other dude, man. And they started 3 trucks, bro. We work 7 days a week, sun up to sunset, man. Now they're the 3rd biggest company in the whole United States, man, called Environmental Management. Yup. But man, I was like, for real, we used to run that shit, man. It was a family, for real. It was a true family. Like, everybody that worked there, man, it's hard ass days, man. You're humping fucking 3-4 semi loads of mulch for just one complex, man. You got the whole crew out there, we're humping in the rain. Shit, man, for real, this is the best job ever in the world. You get to work outside, get to see, honeys, or cars, everything in the environment, whatever guy gave you to look at. Yeah. And you're still creating something at the end of the day. Like, man, I did that shit, that's mine. Yeah. I got 2 awards, man, up in Ohio. I did an apartment complex. And what it was a retention pond. It was a 4-tier waterfall into another retention pond. Oh, that's nice. And we did that shit in the middle of winter, too. It stuck, man, but, it was just me and one dude. Just doing slabs of fucking boulders and stones and stuff, man. It looks like today, if you went up there right now, it looks like the same day like we finished up. Like, man, it's for real. They maintain it. It's nice. It's beautiful. I won an award for that one. Oh, that's nice. First ever, You ever heard of, you know anything about Ohio?
No.
Huh? They got this place called Murfield Golf Course. It's like a $1 million home community, Jack Nicklaus, whatever. Yeah. They used to do a lot of work up there. And, they were doing this beautification thing up there, trying to get everything cleaned back up, for the Memorial tournament. We did a dry stream with local wash gravel and then set boulders and stuff, made a little bridge, pergola, like Pennsylvania fieldstone. It was just like a project, like, you ever heard of Parade of Homes?
No.
Parade of Homes is like, like these new housing developments and or the builders, they want to, showcase their new homes. So we go in there, man, it'll be like one whole neighborhood. You go, your company gets this house and this company gets that. You got to bust that shit out, for real. That's how you get a lot of work that way. Because it gets to, the showcase all your work, like the high-end shit. Yeah. My skill set, though, man, is doing, like, pavers, outdoor kitchens and shit like that, water features. Yeah. That's what I did my whole life, man. Most of it was all, bro, I love what I do, man. And obviously I'm 52, be 53 years old, and like nobody half my age, 2 or 3 of them can outwork me. Can't do it, man. But I love what I do, so there's a difference too. Some of you guys just get a little paycheck and go get some beer or this and that, but I love what I do. I get more excited than my customers, for real. They be like, "You're happier than we are." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I get to plant some flowers, bring some oxygen to the world, and I get some money.
But you say that's hard on the business side.
Because when you run a 1-man show or 3 or 4-man show, like I said, you got to be out there doing the estimates. You got to be talking to the customers or potential clients. You got to do advertisement or you get your name out there. Plus, you got to do the work. Then when you get home from work, you got to take off all the equipment that was loaded up for the day. To get this stuff ready for the next day. Paperwork. Then you got to do follow-up calls on the out estimates or so forth. You got to make your say you got a job, you got to have materials. You got to call the materials. Get that ordered. It's just trying to, coordinate everything. There's a lot going into this, man. It's an expensive business to be in. You know, but if you don't have any, idea or no hope for the future, this ain't the right business to be in. It ain't. This shit's costly, bro. You know, just like the truck. I just got the truck paid off, man. You know, but tires all the way around, $1,500. You know, the brakes, and hell, they're just more expensive. You know, it's just like, trailers. They got all new tires and all new lights, all that. It's just out going nonstop. But you gotta be safe. You know what I mean? You gotta make sure you hurt. Not hurt nobody. Dude, if I ever did somebody for my negligence, man, I'd feel like shit for real. I would never want to hurt nobody. So like, safety is the number one key to this. Just everything you have, you use can hurt you. Just like, everything is beautiful in the world, the ocean, the mountains, the forest. That's just the most dangerous though, but it's the most beautiful. You know what I mean? So this is like, having your own company is the most beautiful thing. You're the boss. But man, like I said, it's dangerous. You get your self overhead, caught up in like credit and buying all this fancy shit you don't need. You're not, producing. And like I said, I started out with 7 cents, man, and a borrowed shovel for my first job. And I landed a $38,000 installation job, designed it and everything. Man, 18 grand. I took it, just invested back to the company, So it's just like, you got to have the mindset, man. You have to go get it. I'm gonna go get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For real, you got to get up there and get that shit. Get up, man. The sunrise, man. The worms. There's some days I don't want to get up. Like today, I was like, fuck this. But you got to get out and get out, produce. I got $16,000 job waiting to finish up. But I'm gonna get up off out here. Peace out, y'all. And check out Imperial Landscapes, nc.com. Imperial Landscapes, nc.com. Out of Sneaks Ferry. 2 days. But I went to the library every night for about a week to learn plants down here. Because from Ohio, we got dirt and clay, and like I said, a different environment. So, that first job, like I said, I went to the library and just studied, because I want, if I'm going to sit there and sell a job to somebody, I want them to know that I know what I'm talking about. Like you said, these fly-by-nighters, man, be, screwing the industry, they go in there and just fuck shit up, but if you're serious about it, you go figure it out. Like I said, solution to every situation. I didn't know what grows down here. I found out, designed it, and bam, I like what I do, man. Actually, I love what I do. Just, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. I fucking hate the shit at the same time. You know what I mean? Bucking equipment and, 2-cycle, anything that's 2-cycle is a pain in the ass. They're temperamental, but yeah. There's a lot of headaches, man, but at the end of the day, when I wake up and I start all over again, I love it. Let's go out and get some more. When I first came down here, I never knew how to build a dock and know about no fucking sea creatures and shit, man. But I'm out there in this ocean, man, building docks, man. I'll show you these videos, man. When I almost got attacked by that fucking alligator. I'm out in the New River out here, behind Dixon Elementary, putting a dock in. And fucking alligator, man, was after us. I threw a log at it, man. It jumps out of the water, grabs a log. And he stalked us for 3 days. And we just got them sent some pylons. I'm like, let's take a break, y'all. And so, man, as soon as you get hit dry land, I just happened to look back, and where I was standing, putting the pylon in, and the fucking alligator pops up. So I throw a log at it, and he comes all the way to the dock, man, within 5 feet of us. I'm like, yeah, let's roll, bro. Let's get up out of here. So, we probably had about another week's left of work. And every time I was in that water, yeah, for real, fuck that. I am not getting munched out, man. Dude, everything I've been through in my life, man, to get taken out of a punk-ass alligator, I'll be mad as hell. For real, I'll be cursing. But no, I mean, for like it's like this, like I said, going from Ohio to here, concrete to sand, it's a whole other environment, man. But dude, this is the best decision I ever made my whole entire life, man. After I lost my wife, man, you know what I mean? My life changed, and I just had to make a decision on what I wanted to do. So I proceeded with what I know, and it's paid off. It's paying off, I guess you could say. After being all them years in prison, and then, coming out, and then being, 3.5 years, people ain't never been there or ever. Man, they ain't nowhere near where I'm at. I've surpassed them, because like I said, you got to be a go-getter. You got to have an idea of what you want. You know what I mean? I make $126,000 a year repairing fire trucks. From fucking my life up, man, because what happened to my wife. But I bounced back, man. As I said, I feel like I never missed a fucking day of freedom, because I'm continuing to get out there and do what I got to do and make my way. So, like I said, if anybody out there, yeah, I'm a convicted felon, man, but, I'm ashamed of things I've done, not who I am. It doesn't mean that, there's not a success story, because right here it is, for real. Like I said, I started out with 7 cents in my pocket and a borrowed shovel for my first job. And now where are we at, We've already broke the 100,000 mark, last year, for being a single working guy. Over $100-some thousand. Again, it doesn't mean it's all profit, but I'm getting there. I got my big boy baby truck, man. She's awesome, I got a woman, man, that gets out here and works with me, you know. That's the key. For real, you gotta have a good partner, man, and somebody has an inspiration to keep you going.
Of course.
You know, I know this is kind of like a documentary, but you know, no, for real, like if I can give like some inspiration or some type of knowledge, man, for real, you gotta love what you do, because for real, it's not work. I'm 53 years old, man. I'm better fit than half the kids my age, and that's, you know, another thing benefit about this job. You're healthy, you know. You don't ever have to have a gym membership. You get up and go to work. That's your gym membership.
Yep.
You might not be jogging, man, but you walking hundreds of miles a day, regardless of what, back to the truck, just back to the job site, you know. Go over here, go. Man, I love it, man. For real. You know. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm kind of embarrassed yet. Now I'm all like shy. I'll be doing this shit in front of cameras, man. But like I said, though, I mean, I've come a long way for nothing. To have at least, you know, something respectful, man, and like, you know, like I said, it's all about your decisions you make. You know, if you want to stay on this path, or you want to stay on this path. You know, there's nowhere in between.
Yeah. It's
either go or get the fuck out the way. I'm fucking. I got my fucking foot pedal down, baby. For real. I want all that money, legally. It's all legal. You know what I mean? Like I said, you get a workout in it. You get, you know, paid. You get tan. You get to meet people. You know what I'm saying? What else you get? You get to save animals. You know, or you get to fight animals, one or the other. You know what I mean? I mean, like, you know, Mother Nature, man, she'll kick your ass like that piece of machinery I had, man. That thing was stuck for 2 fucking days.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a piece of machinery in my whole entire life get stuck. This bitch was stuck. But, you know, it was the will, what do they call that, willpower or determination, got that out. Because I told him, I was like, it's coming out right now. Either way, it's coming. And we got that bitch out, man. But after 2 days of lost downtime, you know what I mean? You have to be resilient, bounce back. You know, I'm running. Actually, man, I'm ahead of schedule. Really, if I made up for those 2 days I lost, you know, I got almost all day yesterday, and then half a day today. Man, I'm ahead of schedule. So see, it's about what you know, your solution to the situation. I solutioned it. You know, for us, one thing, man, I always say, man, myself, and I tell myself, you hear me? I will not be defeated, man. I ain't taking no L's. I ain't taking no loss. I've taken too many losses in my life now. It's all about W's, man.
Yeah.
For real. You know, and my thing is, like, I try to share my wealth or my success with people, but people just don't understand what they have when they have it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like these guys, I've helped out some of the homeless people, some of these addicts, you know, try to give them a job and try to help them get off drugs. And, you know, I mean, it's the one I'd send to rehab. I pay for his canteen. Get sober, bro. I've been through that shit, man. There ain't no way of life. You know what I mean? There's no way of life. But, you know, they get a little few dollars in their pocket and they bounce. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But that's their opportunity. They don't get another opportunity. There's only one of those guys, man, around here. They're homeless, you know, or addicts and stuff. That I get an opportunity off it because I see something in the guy. I can see it, you know. But whatever's going on, you know, he's not going to stop until he's ready. That's what's happened to me, you know. I was an addict for years after I lost my wife. Like, you ain't ready to stop until you say, I'm done. And I'm done. I was done, you know. I still chew and, man, my little vape and shit like that. I'm going to smoke a little bit of weed every once in a blue moon, but that's it, man.
So what got you to
my addiction, man, is my work, man, for real.
What got you to the point where you said that you was done? That made you finally
just after, you know what I mean? Like the circle of people that I grew up with or I ran with, you know what I mean, with this and that. And, like, they didn't know exactly what I was doing until I told them after all, you know, the after effects and stuff, what was going on. But it's just, you miss you miss who you were. You lose yourself for real, man. Especially how I lost my wife. I was never prepared to take my wife off life support, bro. They didn't prepare me for that. I get a phone call, you know, this and that and that. I got 2 days, you know, to determine what I want to do. You know, what are we supposed to do? You got kids and everything else is involved, and that shit was hard. It fucked my life up, bro. But that was my bouncing back, my determination, man, for my kids and my grandkids. Because, like I said, I went out there and fucked up, man. Because I gave up my faith and, you know, love, family, friends, all that. I lost it all, man, when that shit happened to my wife. But, you know, it took things to happen for it to come back in place, you know. Am I a holy roller? No. Do I believe in God? Yeah. Do I get pissed off at his ass? We fight every day. Because I'm like, why do you keep putting me through this, man? You know what I mean? But all it does is keep making me stronger and better. And I truly believe that. I don't push the Bible on nobody. I went to Catholic schools my whole life. Doesn't mean nothing. I don't understand a single word in the Bible. Not at all. You know, I mean, the only thing I've ever learned, man, was out of Book of Mormon. I understood what I was reading one day, man, for real. And I fist bumped the air, man. But other than that, I don't know. I don't understand none of that shit. As long as I believe, man. I be a good person every day and try to wake up and be better. That's all, man. That's all I can give. I mean, that's it. Just like, like our meeting, you just happen to have a question. I mean, we talked there for like 2 hours. You know what? A year later, here we are. It's just people. I do feel that people are putting people's lives for a particular reason. And I don't for a season or a reason. All that bullshit. No, I really do. It's just it's not about maybe what can I get from this person, but what can I learn? What can I teach? You know what I mean? And I do think people are putting your lives for particular reasons. Just like some of my clients, man. Dude, I've had cry sessions with a couple of my clients, man. You know what I mean? Like their husbands, or like, oh, we're going through the shit I was going through. Like, dude, I lost my wife 26 years. That's a whole lot of difference than not having nothing. But then, but I just, like, even there's times I do work for people, man. It's not always about monetary gain, And they just paid, $7,000 for me to do all this. Man, I don't mind going to give them some, free work. That's just, that's how you keep your people too. It's not all about money, man. But you can't live without it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. For real, I loved, like when I was 19 years old and I started doing this shit. I loved it, and I never stopped. And that's it. I took almost 4 years off to work on fire trucks. That was it. That's all I know, man. But I know fucking everything about it. Except for fertilization. I know how to spread on it, but I don't know shit about the science behind it. But all the other stuff I do, like, plants, diseases, what grows where, half sun, full sun, I know all that shit. I get off here. I gotta get fucking dressed and get this fucking work done. But I'll be back with my uniforms. All the way down through here, all this and all this stuff, and then in that corner pile is all the stuff I take out of this house that we're at right now. I think this is gonna be the 11th load. And I always make sure, like when I'm over here, I always make sure like there ain't no trash or something like that bottle. I don't know whose that is, but I'll pick it up. You shouldn't do that. What they do, this is how they make like that triple processed black mulch and brown mulch. It's compost. Them alligators, they want the walkway to come out, and then they want to build 10. Well, actually, they want 12 foot that way, 10 foot this way. Which is something like this, you can only go a quarter into the water off the land. That's one of the camel laws, But then they want to put little railings around and so forth, so they can have little benches and sit out. Because at nighttime, when the sun sets that way, it's amazing out here, man. It's amazing. But I'm assuming there's some alligators out here. This is definitely ideal for alligators. Your backdrop's the ocean, you know what I mean? You got the wetlands, you got alligators, you got fish, frogs, birds. This is awesome, man. Couldn't ask for a better workplace now. I'm telling you, man, moving down here 3.5 years ago and starting my business was the best decision I've ever made. And I've made some stupid ass decisions in my life, and I had consequences. But man, I tell you, this not even work, man, for real. It's not. It's something I love. It's not work. Like I said, I'll be 53, man, next month, and people half my age can't keep up. And I'll outwork 2-3 guys all day long. Can't do it. I've had customers call before on a job site. My phone always pops up, with the speaker. And her name was Ann. She was like, "Sean, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Go ahead, Ann." She's like, "How come you're out there working harder than all 3 of them guys?" But I have an end goal that I want, and I have it exactly how I want it to look. You know, I take everybody's house as if it's my house. That's my name I'm leaving there. So if it isn't crispy and, you know, pristine, man, then we ain't leaving until it's done right. You know, like the other night I came back and I had dirt all the way down the road and stuff, you know, from the machine. It was nighttime and I had a broom and a blower, you know, make clean this, because you know the neighbors don't want to drive through that crap. You know, it's just dirt, it'll blow away, but you still got to clean up, you know. And those are the things that set me aside from everybody else, you know. It's the detail part. Like I said, your blower is the most important piece of equipment you will ever have, because when your job's done, that's what you clean your job up with, you know, making it look pretty. That's the most important piece of equipment you have, so you always take care of it, you know. You know, it's just like I said, you know, there's something you can't do, man. Let the people know I can't do it. You know, I recommend so. You know, I've taken on jobs, man, like where it was too big for me to do. Even though I could do it if I had the guys, you know. But like when not last year, the very first year I was in business, I did it was a $42,000 paper patio. It was like a big old circle with a fire pit in the middle, 2 benches, you know, like 2 little walls, some lighting, and then it stepped down into like a walkway and went around their house and stuff. And so I hired a couple guys to try to teach them a skill, man. And also try to do the job at the same time. It was just impossible, man. These are some dumb fuckers, man. They don't listen, you know. And I've never been kicked off a job or fired from a job, but I got fired from that job. I was out getting materials, man. I came back, man, and the homeowner was like, "Your 2 guys right here, man, are out getting high behind my shed." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, so I was like, "Yeah, man, y'all want some lunch, man?" Like, "Yeah, hop in." I just took them straight to their houses. Get out. I didn't pay him nothing. I lost $16,000 on that job. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing he didn't shame my name. You know what I mean? But you know, my business, that was a learning experience. You know, you have to learn from this stuff. Being a business owner, it's fucking hard, man. It is. It's really trying. Like I said, I want to throw the towel in many times, man. You know, like, screw this, man. But, you know, this is what I love, and this is what I guess this is my destiny, I guess, whatever they want to call it. This is what God's got for me, man. Because, you know, if I can sit back and make somebody happy when they step outside or they pull up to their house, like, man, that's my house, man, it's sweet, you know. And that's what you want. The end result is what you want. And that's why, like I said, you know, almost every one of my clients are repeat customers. You know, I've never had a complaint from none of my work. But yeah, I said, you know, like I said, you know, these people can sit back here now and they can look out there at the sunset and see everything perfect now. It's just, it's amazing at night, man, that sunset through here. Yeah. So it's come a long way, man, since Friday.